to listen to the entire episode and catch all our content, look for Pod Academy in quotations on all podcasting platforms.
Great Scott! What? Great Scott! Great Scott! Great Scott! Great Scott! Oh, great Scott! Great Scott! Great Scott! I know, this is heavy.
Hi everybody, this is Dr. Rutger Vos. I'm an expert on time travel. You need 1.21 gigawatts to get there and 88 miles per hour. And I am joined by another expert in time travel. He's been traveling linearly through time since his birth. I'm joined by Gil and Rutger. How are you doing, man?
Hi, man. Wow, I've been doing this for almost 43 years.
Yes.
And I was told it's going to get easier, but I'm not sure that it does.
It goes faster though, doesn't it?
And recently, I've come up to an alternative reality where weird things happen, unexpected global weird things. I don't know.
We're on a weird timeline.
I don't want to spoil the future.
No, please don't.
I don't want to spoil the future. So we watched the trilogy. It's your first time watching the trilogy?
No, I especially with the first one, I have a very emotional attachment, which maybe we'll get into.
Sure we will.
And then the second one, there's also connections, and the third one, it's a little bit more receded into memory.
This is the trilogy that made time travel popular in Hollywood.
Yes.
It spawned like endless movies. Some of them we already talked about. Some of them we'll talk about in a future episode, about going back in time, like all the paradoxes and what happens. You change something in the past, it changes the future. You go back to the future, it's a different future. All this kind of stuff.
Yes.
So like my main, there are a lot of like smaller takeaways that we're gonna get into when we go through the movies. But like my main takeaway right now for this trilogy is that this is the supreme American propaganda. This is like incredible American propaganda, the propaganda of progress, the progress of America. So you have like tons of product placement. You have tons of assumptions about how society functions. And I don't think it's a coincidence that they skip over the 2 decades that are, more disruptive and not as happy, the 60s and the 70s. They started in the 80s. They jump over the 70s and 60s to the 50s where everything was great, but just like in a different sort of way.
It was great in the sense of making America great again. Yes, with racial segregation and stuff like that.
You think I'm going to spend the rest of my life in this slop house?
Watch it, Goldie.
No, sir. I'm going to make something of myself. I'm going to night school. And one day, I'm going to be somebody.
That's right, he's gonna be mayor.
Yeah, mayor. Now, that's a good idea. I could run for mayor.
A colored mayor, that'll be the day.
You wait and see, Mr. Carruthers. I will be mayor. I'll be the most powerful man in Hill Valley, and I'm going to clean up this town.
Good. You can start by sweeping the floor.
But you see, in the 80s, you already have a black mayor, and in the, not the aughts. What do you call the second decade of the 21st century? The 10s?
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Yeah.
The 10s. Let's call them the 10s. So in the 10s, now there's like a legacy, not a legacy. How do you say, like a line, like a royal line? How do you call that?
A lineage?
Yeah, it's like there's a new like political royalty now. Black people, like Goldie something the third. He's been like his family's been ruling Hill Valley for dozens of years. Whatever.
Right.
But let's get into it. Let's get into the first one. Why is the first one so emotional for you? Outside of the fact that we all grew up on it.
It's emotional for me because it is the one and only film that I went to go see in the movie theater with my grandma back then. I was 10, So this is the actual year, 1985. I was born in 75, and we went to go see it in the movie theater Tuschinski, which is a very beautiful sort of Art Deco movie theater in the center of Amsterdam. It's the movie theater where, if there's Dutch award shows are held, right? So it's an institution. And I went with my grandma, who's not very good at speaking English, so she always referred to it as Back to the Future. And it was mind-blowing for me. And
it was in English. In the Netherlands,
yes.
The movies are in English, right?
No,
Not dubbed.
It's in English, subtitled, and it only grew in my mind, which I think it has done in the minds of many people. I think it has become more and more respected over time also. And it's so 80s and
Wow. It's such a good movie. First of all, it's a really, really, really good movie. Like, it holds up. Like, the story, the arc, everything is like, it has this je ne sais quoi, something about it. There's something about it. But there are some things that have in the movie that have aged not as well.
Like what?
Like the fact that his mother got the hots for him, and his plan to solve all the problems is to sexually assault his mother.
Yes.
That's his plan.
Yes.
That's his plan.
Yeah.
He plans to sexually assault his mother.
So, like, I wasn't totally focused in there or anything, but I'm pretty sure that mom was trying to bang her son.
Wait, the hot chick was Alex P. Keaton's mom?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
But they're the same age.
No, but he went back in time.
Then why is it called Back to the Future?
He has to go back to the future because he's in the past. So the future is actually the present, which is his time.
What?
And only then at the end, it's like, wow, I didn't think it would be so hard to sexually assault your mother. Okay. And then there's like an attempted rape, which I didn't remember as such when I watched it as a kid, when Biff tries to rape Lorraine, soon to be McFly. Actually, it becomes really dark, really quickly. And also, there's like this thing that you're either the bully, you're either getting bullied or you're the bully. There's nothing else. So George McFly is being bullied the whole time, but now that he punched Biff in the face, now he's going to bully him. I don't know.
Yes.
I think today it would have been done differently. That's a horrible message for a movie.
Yes. Yeah, agree. Yeah. And Biff continues then to be bullied in the happy timeline right up until the 80s. Like, he was a bit of an asshole in his teenage years, and the next 30 years, he's just condemned to waxing other people's cars and go, oh, sorry, very deferential.
Why not just like be cool with each other? So you punch the bully in the face, and now the bully has learned his lesson. That's not an option.
Yeah, and the rapiness also is much more noticeable on rewatch. You can see that our values have shifted.
Wow. Yeah. Because also, like, they make it scary. Like, you can see his eyes, and Lorraine like stands up, like sits up, and she's like, "Please help me." And like today, that would be like not in a family comedy. not at all. So like, I want to watch this with my daughter. I will have to skip over that part.
Yeah, there are some parts in it that are kind of dark. Also, the way actually then the town center of Hill Valley is portrayed when he gets back, and there are some parts that are kind of a critique of 1980s America. Then all of a sudden there's all like graffiti everywhere, and there's like the homeless guy on the bench, and there's trash everywhere, and then Marty is glad to be back home in that fucked up reality.
Yeah, in the 50s, everything is clean.
Yeah, it's clean.
And the
and
black
wholesome.
people are waiters.
Yes. Yeah.
No, they're not waiters. They're actually, he's the mop guy, like janitor, not janitor, the cleaner. He's the cleaner.
Yeah. It tries to recognize that reality a little bit, in that the band in the Enchantment Under the Sea, it's except for Marty, it's black musicians, and they're kind of the cool guys. And they also...
And Biff and his gang are racist.
Yes, yeah. And they call them spooks as a racial term, which is a little bit obscure. I guess they would have used another word. But anyway, and then a fight breaks out, and then obviously the black guys are victorious and on the side of justice.
Hey, beat it, spook. This don't concern you.
Who you calling spook, Peckerwood?
Hey, listen, guys. Look, I don't want to mess with no reefer addicts, okay?
Get home to your mama, boy.
Although they are being kind of stereotyped as being the ones smoking weed in the car,
Right.
which they don't say out loud. Like you're supposed to understand this, that they're like smoking the reefer in the car, that are being called spooks, and then they get out and beat them up.
And they also need a white boy to tell them how to make better black music.
That's right. Yes, yes. Rock and roll is actually invented by white people, by white Canadians.
We care. He's Canadian, Michael J. Fox?
Oh, yes. I lived in the town where he grew up in Burnaby, British Columbia. And near where I lived was the school that he went to. And he later in life donated an auditorium to the school with very large his signature on it. So it's the Michael J. Fox Auditorium in Burnaby. Yeah, it's a little cringe.
I wish I didn't know that. I wish I didn't know that.
But anyway.
So another thing about the 50s that they look back on, with nostalgia because of the 70s and the 60s, is the gender roles. The man has to be a man, and the woman has to be a woman. And Biff, wow, it's not even creepy. He's like halfway into being an incel terrorist or something. Mm-hmm. The way that Marty McFly fixes the relationship of his parents is, instead of she caring for him, like in her gender role, right, like a mom, and falling in love with him this way, she falls in love with him when he has the male gender role and kicks the shit out of someone who assaults her. Yeah. I guess the gender role of a man is, is to beat off other men. Yeah. Okay, so I guess there's like an underlying assumption here that the only reason that we're needed is because we're dangerous. So the gender roles, let's put them aside. There's something here that I like that is very nuanced, and I've experienced it also in my personal life, that like the way that the relationship starts is very important. Like it sets the stage to a lot of things in the future.
My name is Lorraine. Lorraine Baines?
Yeah. But you're so thin.
Just relax, Calvin. You got a big bruise on your head.
Where are my pants?
What I love about this movie is that it's so 80s that I can't help it. I get nostalgic for the type of films where like there's the love interest who's called Jennifer or Mallory or something like that, and it's all kind of set in cheesy California, and they all drink Pepsi and then they turn the can towards the camera so you see the logo, and it's like it's Reagan America all the way. It's morning in America.
It's like rock and roll, but before like the kick-ass rock and roll that the grown-ups are uncomfortable with.
Like it's fake rebellion. Also, when he plays the guitar, it's totally commercially packaged. Yeah.
All right. We're the pinheads.
1, 2, 3.
Too darn loud. Next, please.
Huey Lewis and the News, I think, is it? The Power of...
That's it. What's it?
That's the theme song of the first episode. I think it's Huey Lewis and the News, The Power of Love. Like it's the cheesy 80s pseudo rock.
I think that's like one of the reasons that this movie is so good, and also why the following movies are good or good enough, is the power of the acting. The trio of Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd as Doc Brown, and whatever his name is as Biff. Yeah. They do a good job all the way. Maybe one little exception that we're going to touch on later, but they're like super relatable and really, really good comedically, and they have a great rapport and chemistry, and you have really good directing, like when they're, arguing or going back and forth, and like top-notch movie acting that really pushes the movie to be even more. This is why it's so historic. It's because it holds up, the story is great, it's new, it's nostalgic, it pushes all the emotional buttons. You and your parents, now you see your parents as like your age and how things have changed, all that, but the acting just makes it boom. Like there's almost no part of the movies that you're like, I don't know.
Now, right now in the culture, especially the chemistry between Marty and Doc Brown is almost made very sentimental, also because of Michael J. Fox's health issues, right? So it's kind of seen as his peak in his career, and tragic subsequent events with his Parkinson's disease. So there's an emotional layer to it because of that, I think.
Yeah. Okay, so just like as a segue to the second one, are you ready to move on? Okay, maybe just like, I don't know, maybe I was thinking that it should go unsaid, but like all the last part of the movie with when Doc Brown is putting on the electricity and the car is getting stuck. This is just great. Just a great movie making. Just excellent, top notch, and with the Libyans, because I guess it was after.
Nice.
They crashed the plane. Lockerbie play.
Yeah.
So I guess that's like Libyans was a thing. So Doc Brown is like this top-notch scientist, inventor living in the suburbs somewhere. Nobody knows who he is.
Yeah.
And he promises the Libyans to prepare nuclear weapons for them.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess that's fine. And then he makes that into the time machine.
Yeah.
To listen to the entire episode and catch all our content, look for Pod Academy in quotations on all podcasting platforms.